This is the Private Officer Beat Radio with Rick McCann at the microphone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Private Officer Beat Radio. Glad that you're joining us today. We've got a lot to talk about, like that's big news. Every week, every program, we always have a lot of interesting topics, breaking news, and informative information here on the Private Officer Beat Radio, which is a production of Blue Ram Media Group, LLC, and Private Officer International. I'm your host, Rick McCann. Glad to be behind the microphone once more. Hey, if y'all haven't already listened to Highway 98 Radio, it's one of our radio programs that we do multiple times each week live. It is a country music, gospel music, indie music, bluegrass, local news, events, weather, and just a regular average radio show as you were here on any radio station. You can listen to it on iHeartRadio, 27 other platforms, including iTunes, and any place where you can download your music or podcast. But this is a live streaming radio show, and it's going quite well. Been doing it for about 3 months now, and we have garnered a lot of listeners. If you just like music or talk shows, you're obviously listening to a talk show now, you might want to take a listen. If you can't find it, which, that would not be good, contact help desk at privateofficer.com, and they'll send you the link. Today we have really just, like I said, a lot to talk about. We put out a notice here a number of days ago, 18 security officers shot, 2 dead. Well, that number went to 4 dead, and about 27 security officers shot within less than a week. We know that things are really getting violent out there. We're hearing about it all the time, and we'll be talking about that. After the first break, I'm going to be talking about an incident. We sent out a news alert about this. It happened in Seattle, Washington, where a security officer was arrested just for doing his job. Was he wrong? Was he in the wrong? We're going to kind of look at that and see what he could have done better and see if it was really legit in any way for police to make that arrest and for the prosecutors to push it forward. It kind of disappointed me on the part of the prosecutor, but it also kind of puts the focus on many states, or at least some states, that just don't like security, and they don't want security to go hands-on. They don't want them to detain or make arrests, even when the law allows it. We'll talk more about that coming up after the first break. We just gave out the awards for 2022, and I hope that you were one of those. But if not, remember, you can send a nomination in at any time. Go to privateofficer.org/awards. There's a nomination page right there. You can nominate your friend, your coworker, your boss, or even yourself for various awards, from life-saving to good arrest to Medal of Valor, Purple Heart, and so many others. It's very important in our business to make sure that we are recognizing each other for all of the good things that we do, because security officers always get, like police, they always get that hammer when they've done something wrong, but they are never lifted up when they've done something right. That's why we are still here. We started our business on the premise that we were going to assist private security with training, and that we were going to lift them up with awards and with recognition and with services that just was not available. And we've done that consistently for almost 20 years. And I feel good about that. There are days when I think, is this really all worth it? But when we're able to help someone, it really does make a difference, and it makes us feel like, myself and staff, it makes us feel like there is a reason why we keep plugging along with this association, radio show, and all the other things that we do. We are, I mentioned this on the last radio show, we're coming into that season. We are in that season, really, for the next 3 months when security officers are injured and killed more frequently than other times of the year. And right now we're looking for some volunteers that would help on our benevolent teams. Really all that takes is, if someone's injured or even killed in your neighborhood, that you would take a few minutes to research the information about them and their contact info, and then coordinate with the POI corporate office on either, bringing them food or sending them cards and other things like that. So if you are interested in joining that benevolent team, please send us an email at helpdesk@privateofficer.com. We also have several positions right now available on the awards committee as well as the advisory board. And if you're interested in any of those, contact helpdesk@privateofficer.com. Remember, if you see news happening anytime, anywhere, send it to us at helpdesk@privateofficer.com. We thank you. A number of folks are always sending us news alerts. If it involves private security or law enforcement, we'd love to know about it. If you have videos, pictures, hey, send them to us. Helpdesk@privateofficer.com. We'll get those out on our social media platforms and other platforms and let everyone know what's going on. We are going to take a quick break. When I come back, I'm going to be talking about that arrest of the Seattle security officer, give you another update on our streaming platform. Oh, that is looking good, and so much more. You're listening to the Private Officer Beat Radio, the voice of the frontline protector.
There's no way to hide it. If you drive drunk, we will find you. Cops everywhere are stepping up enforcement and cracking down like never before.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight? Sir, have you been drinking this evening? Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
Make no mistake. You look and caught, and you will be arrested. Over the limit, under arrest.
There was the explosion, and I remember just opening my eyes, and it got both of my legs. I had surgery after surgery, and what's going to happen next? The Wounded Warrior Project said, look, brother, everything's going to be okay. 3 months from now, 4 months from now, a year from now, you'll be fine. I don't know if I would be as well adjusted as I am now if it wasn't for them.
To learn more, call 1-877-832-6997 or visit woundedwarriorproject.org.
It's the guts and it's the glory. 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's some handwritten letters from home. It's some sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, hear the line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these.
This morning we do have some breaking news coming out of Colorado over the weekend. Disturbing breaking news, actually, coming out of Arapahoe County, just outside of Denver. Police there confirmed that 52-year-old Marvin Johnson, the owner of a private security company, was gunned down Thursday night in Aurora by a former employee that he had fired. Police say that Johnson owned a security company for a number of years and terminated 35-year-old Lloyd Love. Authorities, along with SWAT and police, arrested him after a traffic stop not long after the shooting. Police say that Johnson was the owner of American Eagle Protective Services and was known to work 24/7 nonstop to grow his business. Police do not know why Love was dismissed from the company, but they believe that he hunted the security company owner down and then killed him. According to family members, Johnson, who was a member of the military, was a loving man. He worked tirelessly building his business. He even missed his own honeymoon because he had much to do with his business. Now, police are saying that Love, the fired employee, already had 3 open criminal cases in Colorado. This includes one where a judge issued him a personal recognizance bond. That's a signature bond, no money needed. Open cases are those that have not yet been adjudicated. According to police, Love is in custody, but once again, no determination as to the amount of bond. Family members of Johnson say the funeral has not been announced yet. This is breaking out of Arapahoe County, Colorado.
A private contract security on duty in Seattle, Washington, now faces serious felony criminal charges for doing his job. The security officer was on foot patrol in the tourist area of the city when he noticed a woman that was acting a little off-keel, unusual. He continued to observe and followed her a little bit of a ways until he spotted her go behind a trash can, not a dumpster, not a building, but a trash can, and squat down. Thinking that was a bit odd, as anyone would, he checked into it further and observed that she was urinating on the ground there in front of folks. Now, when she finished her business, the security officer immediately detained her. Thinking that this was a crime, he handcuffed her and notified Seattle police. But little did he know that the cuffs would soon be taken off from her and put onto him. Police charged him with felony assault with a weapon, the handcuffs, and false imprisonment, both are felonies. Both are felonies. Now, the security officer was just trying to do his job. You see, in the state of Washington, as in many states, there are citizen arrest authority laws or private person arrest laws. It says that if you witness a misdemeanor or a felony in your presence, you can arrest, not detain, not stop, not observe and report, but detain and arrest that suspect. Then it is your job to turn them over to police immediately, which is exactly what he did. As soon as he saw the offense, he took the suspect into custody. He called 911. He got the police there, and he turned his prisoner over to law enforcement. But rather than law enforcement saying, good job, we'll take it from here, we'll transport and get her booked into the jail, they contacted the state prosecutor or the district attorney. They looked at what happened, and they said, oh, no. First of all, she did not create or commit a crime. She didn't create a disturbance. She didn't commit a crime. What she did was considered a civil violation in Seattle, where she would just get a ticket and pay a fine. No arrest, no cite and release citation, no criminal charge, just civil. And so, because of that reason, police said, and the district attorney said, well, looks like it's actually the security guard who screwed up, and he broke the law, not the woman. So they charged him Now, I don't know if the state attorney will push that charge through or if it'll be null processed, dismissed, not prosecuted by the DA's office. I don't know. But if it is, Private Officer International, we have already decided to aid and assist that security officer to the best of our ability. He was following the law. I don't believe he had any intent, any ill will. I don't believe that he was negligent. I don't believe that he went overboard with what he did. I believe that he was doing his job to the best of his duty, and he thought that he was in the right. Now, looking at the statutes in Washington State, our office discovered several different things. One, previous offenders have been charged with disorderly conduct. Other charges that would apply is public indecency, trespassing, breach of peace, and possibly some other charges. They could have prosecuted that woman if they so desired. But rather than prosecute her, which is what we're seeing in our world today, rather than move forward with charges against the criminal, the person who committed the crime, they're the victim. They no longer are considered a suspect. They're no longer the criminal, the offender. Now it's law enforcement and security. They're the offender. They are the offender. They did something wrong. They broke the law. Let's go after them. Let's hammer them. And let's let that true offender go about their business because they're now victims. We're seeing this more and more and more across our country. And it's sickening, to be honest with you. Those who put their life on the line every single day to protect, to serve, private security protects and serves. They protect life and property, no matter the type of property that they may be assigned to. The prosecutor and the police could have forwarded charges to the DA against the woman. They could have told the security officer, hey, next time you see somebody urinating in public, it's not a criminal offense. Now you know. It's just a civil infraction. I mean, you can go ahead and call police. If they are still around when we get there an hour and a half from now, we might give them a civil ticket. But if not, don't worry about it, pal. No big deal. They could have done that, but they didn't. Now the security officer is pretty much out on his own. Now he has to battle it out with the court system, with the justice system. His employer has not stepped forward, at least not publicly in the media. We don't even know who his employer was or is. We don't know if he'll be supported. We don't know if he will have an attorney. He might have to go with a public defender. And I think the other thing that really outrages me is that on public social media, Facebook, when we post these stories, some of the negativity from other security officers is just ridiculous, sickening. Rather than side with the security officer and say, oh, he might have got it wrong. He didn't know better. Now he does. No, they're saying things like, well, he was stupid. We are just here to observe and report. He shouldn't have laid his hands on her. He shouldn't have done this. He shouldn't have done that. Security is different in different areas, and security means different things to different people. Some security companies are very proactive, and they make citizens arrest every single day. Others, not so much. Others are still in that observe and report. But what are you going to do when somebody's shooting at you? Whoa, I'm just observing and reporting. Don't shoot me. I mean, come on. We're living in a different time, a different world. If you're not ready to defend yourself and others, if you're not willing to be proactive, if you're not willing to step forward and do the job the way that it's meant to be, I've told you so many times that starting way back 100 years ago, they apprehended people. They were special police, special U.S. Marshals, and there are many private police, and the Marshal Service still deputizes contract security at federal buildings and courthouses to be special deputy marshals. It's a different world. Maybe in your world you're still a guard in a guard booth, but truly, across the country, things are changing. And if that's all that you want to be, that's fine. There are plenty of jobs that just do that. But that's not the real life world. Technology, training, proactiveness, and so much more is playing into security these days. I feel sorry for this security officer, and I hope that, they drop the charges and they don't prosecute him and put him through that judicial process. We'll be monitoring this. If you have any insider information on this or any other stories, let us know at helpdesk@privateofficer.com. Now, when I come back, I'm going to talk about another case. This just coming into our news desk over the weekend. This is just, I don't even know what to say about this. This is a lawsuit where a security officer did something really, really bad. And now the jury is making the security company and their client pay for that terrible crime that was committed. You're listening to the voice of the Frontline Protector, Private Officer International production of Blue Rat Media Group, LLC, and Private Officer International. We'll be right back.
I'm the highway patrol. Well, you'll know me when you see me, 'cause my door's painted white, my siren is screaming and my flashing red light. I work all day and I work all night, just to keep the law and order, trying to do what's right. If I write you out a ticket, then you better drive slow. I'm just doing my job on the highway patrol.
What do you wish for? A nice life? Nice things? Or do you wish for something more? A sense of purpose? Do you wish to discover a cure? To write code that cracks an unsolvable question? To further our exploration into space? Or to invent something that changes everything right here on Earth? Well, if that's your wish, make yourself ready. Because when you look back, you'll see that you didn't just make wishes, you realized them.
Fentanyl is lethal. Used by drug traffickers to cut heroin, cocaine, and Xanax. Fentanyl is 50 times more potent than heroin itself. In fact, it's so strong, people who cut it wear masks to protect themselves from fentanyl's deadly effects. Then dealers turn around and sell it to unsuspecting people on the street. And what happens to the users? They get to wear a mask too. 46% more people have died from overdoses in New York City, all due to one thing: fentanyl.
This was breaking news over the weekend. It is sending shockwaves literally across the legal system, the hospitality industry, and private contract security. A jury awarded a $177 million verdict for a sexual assault victim that occurred at a St. Louis hotel. This was in 2016. A New Jersey deputy sheriff was visiting St. Louis to attend a crime scene investigation seminar. And such a vicious attack occurred, such an egregious act by a contract security guard, that a jury has awarded this victim a $177 million judgment against the St. Louis Hyatt Regency at the Arch. The jury found that the hotel didn't follow its own rules in hiring a man as a security guard who would go on to later assault and sexually assault the guests. In the jury's award, they say that security guard David A. White used his master key to enter her room, found her sleeping, and left. But then, soon afterward, he returned and sexually assaulted the woman. White pled guilty to first-degree burglary and misdemeanor sexual abuse in the case, and he was sentenced, get this, to probation. After learning that White had a disturbing record of convictions before being hired as a security guard, the victim hired Davis, Bethune, and Jones, attorneys at law, to sue in this matter. Jurors looked at the hotel's record. It looked at their own method of hiring and screening. Hyatt argued that it shouldn't be held liable for White's actions. White's record includes convictions for second and third degree assault, third degree domestic violence assault, operating motor vehicles while DUI, resulting in injury, and other charges. Hyatt Regency never did a complete background check, if any, the trial found. And if they did, they overlooked the seriousness of the employee's arrest. The Hyatt will have an opportunity to appeal the judgment, which is standard procedure, especially in these large jury rulings and judgments. Now, we reported on this story back when it first happened, and we followed the court process. To our dismay, this former security guard was never punished in any serious manner for his crimes. But the court sent out a loud message to the hospitality industry, to security industry, to employers, small and large. You are responsible for your employees. And if you do not take background checks serious, if you do not have a process in place where you have a procedure to vet these people, these employees, no matter what their position, and something like this occurs, you are going to be held liable to the nth degree, to the maximum. This is not the first major lawsuit that has occurred in recent years against hotels and contract security for burglary, sexual assault, rapes within the hospitality industry. while reviewing this judgment, we did a quick research and found at least 3 other cases in recent years, one resulting in a $44 million settlement between a hotel and a contract security company for rape, and another case where the jurors found that the contract security company and hotel could have prevented a sexual assault against a guest at the hotel, but they didn't do their due diligence, and in that case, the victim was awarded $68 million. It is imperative in this world that we live in, especially in non-regulatory states, that we do a full background, that we do a full credit check, that we do a full driving history, that we do a reference check, that we really spend some time screening our employees. And again, this jury spoke volumes. It spoke volumes. It's just terrible that this deputy sheriff from New Jersey had to experience such a violent act against her. And to think, I mean, I travel all the time, every week. I'm in some other state, some other city for work. To think that you really believe that the hotel is protecting you. You've got that double lock on the door. You know, you think you're behind those locked doors, nothing's going to happen to you. But even when you have those door locks on, there's no guarantee that someone within the hotel system, an employee, a subcontractor, a vendor, won't gain access. $177 million. That was one loud voice from those jurors. I don't understand how employers could be so naive in this day and age. We're going to take a quick break. We still have plenty to talk about, a lot of breaking news. And today, I'm going to spend a couple of minutes talking about a special subject. But we'll be right back here with the voice of the Frontline Protector here at Private Officer Beat Radio.
Are you scared? Because we are. Nobody's registering as organ donors. And this means transplants aren't taking place and people are dying. With COVID, the world has changed radically, leaving us all with extreme uncertainty. This uncertainty has paralyzed every one of us. The fear and loss of control has frozen us in place. But we cannot afford to do nothing. People are dying, while there is something that we can do. We appeal to you to register as an organ donor. Do it now. Register.
There's no way to hide it. If you drive drunk, we will find you. Cops everywhere are stepping up enforcement and cracking down like never before.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight? Sir, have you been drinking this evening? Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
Make no mistake. You look and caught, and you will be arrested. Over the limit, under arrest.
There was the explosion, and I remember just opening my eyes, and it got both of my legs. I had surgery after surgery, and what's going to happen next? The Wounded Warrior Project said, look, brother, everything's going to be okay. 3 months from now, 4 months from now, a year from now, you'll be fine. I don't know if I would be as well adjusted as I am now if it wasn't for them.
To learn more, call 1-877-832-6997 or visit woundedwarriorproject.org.
Are you looking for the finest private security officer training in the Charlotte metropolitan area? Do you need PPS qualifications in armed or unarmed training? Or maybe you're over there across the line in South Carolina and you need the sled training. Well, we've got the right training at the right time for you. Premier Training Academy, located at 5624 Executive Center Drive, Suite 142 in metropolitan Charlotte, North Carolina. Give them a call today, 704-806-4933. They also offer firearms training, personal protection, first aid and CPR, and so much more. Call John at 704-806-4933. Body Armor USA, we've got what it takes to protect you. Whether you're looking for the top quality protective armor or protective clothing, stab-resistant vest or gloves, contact my friend Ben over at Body Armor USA. Give him a call, 516 area code 817-1666. Again, that's area code 516 817-1666. Body Armor USA, we've got what it takes to protect you. No doubt about it.
Fragmented. Pieces. Broken into fragments. Splintered. Broken. Some might say that describes the private security industry. Splintered. Broken apart into many pieces. The contract security business, as we know it today, some might say, is broken. Some might say it's splintered. It's not what it used to be. It's gone into so many new directions through the years. Now, depending on what history book that you read, contract security started almost 200 years ago. And one of the best known contract security agencies, of course, was the Pinkerton Detective Agency. It was started in Chicago, Illinois, more than 172 years ago. Its motto, "We never sleep." And the eye of Pinkerton in their logo still exists today. Private security really goes back even further than that. Looking through the Bible, we can see centurions, sentries, guards, people guarding the temple, the church, people, and property. We have seen it through the ages. Someone, somewhere, performing the service of overwatch, protection, making sure that everyone is secure and that property is not stolen, nor vandalized, nor is somebody trespassing on property not their own. But the private security, the contract private security aspect of the security field has certainly changed, and there's no argument there. We have broken apart from where we once were, some might say. But in our research through the years of the private security industry, we have found that security has always been splintered. It was never just one thing. It was never just a single service. Some security companies offered security to the stagecoaches. Some provided services to the trains. Some even guarded the President of the United States. And some say that was the beginning of the Secret Service. Other security companies through the ages have done everything from static security at factories and wholesale distributors, industrial locations, all the way up to the most elite and prestigious type security that you could ever do: nuclear security, executive protection, and sworn law enforcement / private security duties. How can we say that private security today, especially when we're talking about the contract security world, is observe and report, and it's all just the same that it always was? It is no secret to anyone in the industry, to anyone who uses private security, and to those who have been looking from the outside to what is happening in our world today when it comes to private protection. It's no secret that times are changing. It's no secret that technology is really not entering the field, but it's pushing its way into the field. We have said through the years that if you do not stay on top of technology, of the changing times, and how security is done, you will be lost. Your company will be at the bottom of the page instead of the top of the page of those providing that elite service. Sure, there'll always be a need for unarmed access control, do nothing, observe and report security. But let me tell you, as we have been preaching for years, that's the low end of security. We have seen over the years that private security is evolving just as law enforcement has through the years. Law enforcement, remember the bobbies in England, which was brought over to the U.S.? I can remember as a child growing up around law enforcement and the family and friends. They would stand on the corner. They would walk a beat. If they had to get backup, they didn't call on their two-way radio to dispatch. No. They hit the concrete walks with their wooden nightsticks to alert the other officer on the next block over that they needed assistance. Eventually, call boxes were installed on some street corners, some beats, and they would go to the call box, and they would call in to headquarters for assistance or to relay information or whatever it might be. Of course, now communication is done not only through two-way radio, but through in-car computers, texting. There's so many different ways to transmit, to communicate, to get the point across, the signal across these days. Private security is splintered. The fastest growing area of security, as we all know, is cyber security. Is that part of physical security? It is. And although today's program is not about explaining what is security, what isn't, and how we kind of, the terminology that we use for uniform security versus loss prevention versus cybersecurity versus private investigators and so on and so forth. But today's show is to talk about how diversified our industry is and is becoming. Just recently on the program, we talked about several companies talking about the need for security personnel to become auxiliary police officers with certain limited law enforcement authority, armed, and to go through at least a minimal training for part-time officers In some states they're called supernumeraries, some states call them reserves, some call them auxiliaries. They're all part-time, usually unpaid law enforcement, but they do go through a partial academy. They do qualify in the range, and they do have some sort of authority, normally while they're on duty, in some cases while they're off duty as well. Yes, our security industry has something similar. We have private law enforcement. We have sworn peace officers. We have special police officers who many times are part of a contract security company, but they have specialized services that offers private law enforcement, which allows them to make arrests on private property that they're contracted to, and also fresh pursuit, which allows them to pursue someone off the property if the crime occurred within their jurisdiction. The contract security world, and even what's called proprietary security, is very splintered. We're not one. My recommendation has been for more than 20 years that we, either through a regulatory or statutory requirement, that we separate ourselves into at least 3 to 5 categories. You see, not every company wants to have special police or company police or private police within their business. That's not what they're about. They don't want to be cops. They just want to provide unarmed security. Some companies do not want to provide unarmed security. They only want to provide armed security. Other companies only want to do events. They specialize in events, whether that be a football game, a sporting event, concerts. You know, they collect. They may collect some tickets. They do back searches. They stand out in the audience, and they are a presence. But they're not enforcers, and they don't do a lot of proactiveness. And that's all well and good as well. We need those people as well as having heavily armed, proactive, law enforcement-style security. Then we have some companies who only do the unarmed. They do access control. They're in a Class A building, one of those 30 or 40-story buildings. They do the desk job where they sign people in and out, issue badges, visitor passes. They do minimal security patrols. They may respond to an incident on the property, but more than likely, they're going to call 911 if something comes up. And that's all well and good, too. We need them, too. We need, because we're so splintered, because we're so divided, because there's so many different services that are now offered through both proprietary but mainly contract security companies, we need to put ourselves into categories. And I really do believe that should be done through a regulatory or statutory, especially a national statutory law that would require, if you are armed security, this is the minimum amount of hours of training that you need. And these are the areas and topics that you need training in, including self-defense, use of force, de-escalation, less lethal, and so on and so forth. Mental health, illness, recognizing Alzheimer's patients, those who are on the autism spectrum, having certain levels of skills in advanced first aid. I mean, it's just, we're beyond the need for this. We're really way behind the 8 ball. When 9/11, that just terrible event occurred, we in the security industry all said we would step up to the plate. Changes would be made. Regulatory agencies said repeatedly, we're going to train our security staff. We're going to require more of them. We're going to have a stricter application process. We're going to make them more professional. It didn't happen. They did try in some states to up the requirements and training. But when you're pulling from the pool of service industries that work at McDonald's and Walmart and TJ Maxx and Costco and Sam's Club, when you're getting the same people that work those type of jobs, service industry, and you bring them over to security, you cannot expect that much out of them. First of all, you're not paying them anything. You're not giving them the benefits. And some of those folks, they may not be able to be a good candidate or a good fit for that type of training, that type of environment, that type of work. We're beyond the point of saying we need to classify the various types of security, and we need to set the bar for required training, for required pay, compensation, and that it should be reasonable and equitable. If you are a nurse's aide, an EMT, a paramedic, if you are middle management, your pay scale is all based on proficiency, skill level, education level, experience. That's what we need to do in the security industry. So the categories that we really need, we need that basic entry-level access control. We need that. We need event staffing. Then the next level, we need that armed security officer who has much more training, 150 hours, 200 hours. We need to be able to reclassify those people into some other name, some other category, whether, I believe it should be something like public safety officer. And we need to be able to not only do the training, do the application process, but be able to pay them. We should be required to pay them a certain amount based on, like I said, skill level and so forth. You're going to have a lot of companies who may not understand the need for that type of security, but that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to sell it, just like any other type of service or product. It's up to the company to sell it. How many brands have you seen in recent years who's calling themselves premium? We know our peanut butter is costly. We know that the average jar of peanut butter is $6 and we're selling ours for $12. But that's because we're a premium grade. We only use premium A grade peanuts. We only get the best oil. We only have the best of the best ingredients. No, not everybody's going to buy it. Not everyone's going to be able to afford it. Not everyone's going to use us, but we got the premium. Those who can afford us, they're going to come to us. Many industries are like that these days. If you're an entrepreneur and you follow those shows like Shark Tank and The Profit and all those other shows on TV, you'll see it and hear it time and time again. We have a premium brand. We have a premium service. If you go to Vanderbilt University or you go to some of these ivory schools, you're going to pay a lot more tuition than if you go to your local community college, your state university, because they're a premium school. They have sold themselves for years that they are better than local community schools and state universities. And they have sold themselves to the point where people are willing to pay $50, $60, $80, $100,000 semester. Maybe not that much, I hope. But there are so many people that go through these premium schools and they're left with $100,000 or $200,000 in student loans because they went to a premium university. We, in the security industry, we've got to put ourselves aside and say we are either going to be a bottom of the barrel type security company, or we're going to be a middle of the road type of company, or we're going to be a premium company. We need to have those access control. That's the entry level. We need to have public safety officers armed and trained. We need those private police officers because I have been preaching, and I'm telling you, we're seeing it every day across the country. Private police agencies, those states that have statutes, laws on the book that currently allow private police agencies and companies, those people are benefiting from those laws because many companies, many parks, neighborhoods, private entities, they're calling upon those private police departments to keep them safe because we know that many police departments are short-staffed, underfunded these days, and they cannot protect their community. They cannot protect their city, their town, their county, or their state. And so they're calling other premium agencies to do it. Schools are now calling back not only SROs, but many are hiring armed, hopefully well-trained private security officers. We're splintered. We're divided. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's not a bad thing. Only if we all clump together and we all play the same name game. Security. We're security. Oh, we'll do that. We'll do this. We'll do the other thing. We'll do whatever you want to do. We'll work 2 hours for you. We'll work 10 hours for you. Yeah, that's okay. You want that? Yeah, we can do that. It's time that we set ourselves apart from the pack. Not everyone has to be everything. You don't have to be the Walmart of the security business. You don't got to have 50,000 items in your store to be a good high-end quality store. Look at boutique stores. You want a certain type of jacket, you want a certain type of shoe, you go to a boutique, a specialty store. You don't go to the general big box store. You're going to a high-end store. Will you make less money? I don't think so. You're charging more to begin with, so you should make more money. Will you have fewer clients? That is a possibility, but you're making up for it by charging premium rates. Oh, nobody's going to go for that. Oh, there you go. That's true. Not everybody will. I have that same experience with my companies. But I'm telling you, there's enough people, enough companies out there who will understand the need, will source their security needs from you rather than XYZ company, that it will make up for the fewer clients. Being splintered, being fragmented, it's not a bad thing. I really want you to understand and get on board with the fact that technology, that advanced training and professionalism is not something in the future. It's been here for quite some time, but it's definitely here today, especially since the defund the police movement, since the cut in staffing and funding for police agencies, so many companies turning to the private protectors, the private officers. Technology, talking to several different security companies recently about some of the things we're seeing. One company has mini drones, and they fly throughout these large warehouses and industrial plants, and they provide an eye in the sky. We have security companies using drones at special events, athletic events, concerts, and so much more. We have technology in our camera systems now. You know, cameras are always on. Even when nobody's there monitoring, they're recording. You can have cameras that record 24/7. You can have cameras that are always monitored, or you can have cameras that as soon as somebody passes in front of it, it turns on, and now a central station's monitoring. Technology. There's all sorts of technology. We have drones. We have robots. We have high-end camera systems. And private physical security must begin integrating into the technology aspect of security today, or they're going to be lost. I'm telling you. You're going to be closed up You'll be that guard. You'll be that guard at that 40-story building doing access control, and you're going to be left behind. Sure, you can make a living doing that, but is that really the type of security that you want to provide your customers? Splintered, fragmented, not bad, but we are fragmented to the point where we don't know what we're doing. We're so broken into so many pieces, no one is really stepping forward saying, oh, we need to have some uniformity. We need to get ourselves better. We're going to be a company that only offers drones. We're only going to offer drones and robots. We're going to be fully automated. Or maybe we're going to be only a private police agencies. And there are some of those out there. I know some of them. And that's all they do. They make patrols of apartments, HOAs, gated communities, hotels, and other residential locations and businesses, and they are law enforcement. They make arrests. They prosecute people. They make patrols. They respond to alarms. They respond to noise complaints, so on and so forth. The world of private security is ever evolving. We're either going to be part of it or we're going to be left behind. I would love to hear from you and talk about how we can, first of all, make our industry more professional, how we can get clients to understand premium rates and premium services are not a bad thing. And let's talk about integrating and using more technology. I talked about a few weeks ago LPRs, license plate readers, being commissioned law enforcement, which is a necessity these days. Trust me, I could go on and on about that aspect, and how we can really put that training, technology, authority, and advanced thinking about the security industry and what it is that we offer. Put it all together and make yourself stand out. Make yourself something different. Everybody wants to be different. Everybody wants to look different these days. Everybody wants to dress different. Different is in, people. Don't be like the next security company on the block over from you. Be different. Stand out. I don't care about 1 million hours of billable hours. I don't care about having to hire 10,000 security guards to... No, I don't care about that. I just told someone the other day, if I have, 5 million billable hours, but I'm still only at the bottom line, gross profit or net profit is still only going to be, 3 or 4%. I don't want that headache. I don't want those expenses. I want to be premium. I want to be the top dog, not the everyday guard company, not the everyday, they're just security. No. I was in Indianapolis, Indiana recently. I ran into a security company. I didn't even know they were security because it said public safety on the vehicle. Had a conversation. Yeah. We only offer patrols. We only offer this, and this. We're not guards. We're public safety officers. That's going to do it for this edition. Think about it, people. You can be the status quo. You can be that bottom of the barrel guard, or you can set yourself up for a real career and be public safety, be private police, offer patrols, armed security. Be something different. Stand out from the pack. And that's going to do it for this edition. Until the next time, y'all be blessed, be safe, and we'll see you back on the radio.